Ooh, it sounds so good. What's up, everybody? Good morning. You're tuning in to another week of the Olimoleague. It's almost exactly 4 a.m. where I'm from. How are you doing, Zombie Grub?
I'm good. You sound different. Like, not bad necessarily, but different.
This was stuff you were supposed to tell me when I was testing my mic earlier. Different how?
I don't know, it's just different. Because I think it was different on Discord. I'm not using Skype. Because I immediately noticed it. But I don't know what the chat's gonna say.
Okay, well, hopefully it doesn't sound unbearable to listen to. I can rejigger everything later. I really don't want to spend another half hour doing settings if I don't have to. Yeah.
You sound a little bit like, you got like more bass, and then there might have been a little bit of fizz too, but that might be Discord, so...
There should be no bass. I've added no bass to this. This isn't... I don't...
It might be Discord. It might be totally fine to the XSplit.
I hope it's fine to XSplit. I hope it's fine to stream. You guys will let us know in chat. Okay, I'm going to keep talking until I see some feedback saying otherwise. But I've been messing with my settings because I hadn't actually listened to myself for the last week or two on stream until I was cutting up some PUBG VODs. Because, hey, guess what? I'm playing that lately on stream. And it's been years since we've listened to our own StarCraft cast, at least for me. I shouldn't say years, that's not true. Maybe like a year at most, since I've really sat down and listened to like a lot of casts. Thanks to Joey cutting up a lot of our VODs and helping us with YouTube stuff, I haven't had to muddle through that. So I didn't realize how bad my microphone was sounding recently, so I tried to fiddle with things to make it sound better. Evidently that may not have worked. Again, we'll find out as cast goes on today. But yeah, so anyways, the Olimoleague. I'm really glad you're back in this slot, and Jiggle Naughty Jason, excuse me, Jiggle Naughty Jasmine isn't the one there. Title says vodcast. It should say live. Why did it not update? Olimoleague. Let me go redo it. Thank you, CGTF2, for letting us know. So everything is as usual. It's nothing crazy, nothing different. Got some really good signups tonight, like fantastic signups tonight.
Yeah, it's a lot of signups and good names too.
I'm most surprised to see, I know Scarlett's in chat right now trying to get signed up because I guess there's something around the bracket. I know Neeb was there. I don't know if he checked in, but again, I just want to throw out Nerchio coming out to play, which is kind of cool. This time, do you know, is he still in Korea or has he gone home yet?
Oh, he went home. Yeah, everyone who didn't actually live in Korea went home. I don't think anyone took extended vacations.
Okay, well, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I mean, he would have been, because he left Monday, 12 hours. Yeah, he'd be home for like 20 hours, 24 hours. Boy, you know, I'm surprised too that he signed up, but I guess it's not really that bad of a time for him.
Well, do you have a first match lined up for us, or are we still hunting? What's the game plan?
Still hunting. Actually,
okay. Well, I just
did see the final bracket.
I was gonna say, I just saw Nerchio says he needs 5 minutes, and I personally wouldn't mind waiting 5 minutes for Nerchio versus MyuNgSiK. I mean, there's other good matches on here too, don't get me wrong, but I'm a big fan of Nerchio, dude. I don't know.
No, there's not really that many. Yeah, I can wait for that.
That's my vote. I'm not saying we have to. That's just my vote. Alright, here's the feedback. God damn, I love stream delay, right? Sounds better, sounds like a radio, sounds really okay, more bass, sounds alright. Who's this new guy talking?
Well, okay. No one's saying it's bad.
It's right, that's the thing I'm trying to take away from this. No one says it's bad. The big thing I'm looking for mostly is like when I get really fucking loud. This happened a lot during the Corsair Cupcast recently, which, by the way, man, that was a lot of fun to get back on board for that. Thank you guys for joining us, those who did. But yeah, listening back to the VOD of it, I'm like, I need to fix this. So hopefully this is better now.
Yeah, it does sound more like you're like on the radio, I guess. But
old time
I guess no one else...
radio.
No, not quite old time. Still new time. But like, there's still a little bit of fuzz. Like, I don't mind. I guess that they don't hear it, so that's good.
When you're saying fuzz, what do you mean here? Because it might be something I can localize.
Just every time you talk, there's a little bit of background noise. Like
that's probably the noise gate. Okay, I think I know what that is. Actually, you guys gonna hear an echo for a second because I'm gonna listen to stream. Pardon me for just a moment here.
Didn't actually live in Korea, went home. I don't think anyone took extended vacations.
Okay, well that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I mean people.
I'm not hearing it on stream. I'm gonna guess the noise gate's just more sensitive for Discord for some reason. I don't know how to change that.
Sure. I don't really mind it.
Okay, well if it becomes really problematic, let me know. We can sort it. We can fix it. But man, so it's been a long time since we've both been on the cast together. Of course, I made my debut back on Sunday, but a lot of people have been asking, of course, all week, where the heck is Zombie Grub? And for those who want to know, she's I was gonna make up a story, but you know what? It's just GSL vs. the World took up everyone's time, guys. We had nothing to cast all week. It was kind of a bummer, but it's nice to get back to it.
Yeah, I missed one cast, so of course I've quit and gone to better places.
Right? Oh my god, all cast. Why are you casting your own? Where's Zombie Grub? Riff can invite me to come cast. Like, yeah, guys, we get it. She's just not here for one day. Chill. But yeah, it's nice to have you back. The Jiggle Nutty Jason joke at the start of this. Jasmine. I keep messing it up. Juggernaut Jason came to join me on stream for a little bit one day, and apparently I didn't know his nickname is Jiggle Naughty Jasmine, and I was berated for not getting that correct several times. We talked about the Avilo drama, we talked about some of the changes in StarCraft, we played a lot of PUBG. I tried to keep the channel as busy as I could this week, but there just really wasn't a lot of StarCraft to do. So it's nice to get back on the grind, if you guys will, but I know our event calendar still isn't updated. By the way, we're still waiting for a match, just to throw that out there. I'm not just talking for the sake of talking. But our event calendar has not been updated. This is still on me. I finally have like 90% of the things locked down. Really, really big announcements for Ting Season 4 are coming. This isn't like a teaser. You all know Ting Season 4 is on the way. We've been talking about it for a while. It's just about getting things properly announced. The only really big thing I want to point out for this month is, like, aside from the fact that you have, or we may or may not, we still don't know whether we're going to be trying to cast the WCS Montreal qualifiers or not. We do have a really cool 2v2 tournament coming up in the middle of the month. And on top of that, we have Colonial Wars kicking off, which will be, it's an experiment for us. To let you guys know fully and entirely, like, Maynard and Zeph are going to be spearheading this project, and Zombie Grub and myself are trying to intentionally be hands-off for it. It'd be really cool if we could use BaseTradeTV as a vehicle to help other tournaments do things that they want to do with friends that we like, such as, well, Maynard and Zeph. So I hope you guys will come out to support that. It's going to be on mostly Saturdays every 2 weeks, or every other week, I should say. And that'll be kicking off on the 12th.
Every other week is the way to say it.
Bi-weekly.
No, that is not the clearest way to say it.
I've been getting... I can't even... I had a dream about this, dude. I can't... I was arguing with somebody. I don't even remember who. It's probably a faceless entity for all I care. But I woke up 2 hours earlier than my alarm because I was so mad in my dream. And I woke up with this weird feeling of, like, anger from debating this whole bi-weekly thing. And I'm like, I wasn't talking to anybody. Why do I feel like this?
I mean, I haven't woken up because of a very, like, you know, like an argument or anything like that. But I have recently, like in the last year, woken up really angry at a person because of my, like, a real person that I'm friends with, because in my dream, they're being a dick or something, right?
I'm sorry.
It wasn't you. Don't feel bad. It wasn't you. But I just remember just like, for like an hour after that dream, I was just like, when I realized it was just a dream, but like, I really don't like this person right now. And luckily, I don't, you know, see them very often, so it didn't actually bother me at all. But I was just like, I really feel like they were just a huge dick. The fuck? Just
that frustration, man.
Yeah.
I thought, I have a feeling like that about my roommate lately, but don't tell anybody.
Okay.
Hey, we're loading into game number 1. Brand new best of 3. Kick off the stream. I still love that the top donation, or the most recent donation rather, is from Wardy. I earned the channel $5, by the way, Zombie Grub. You're welcome. Over the week.
Okay, that's good.
Wardy took a stream bet. Wardy actually took 2 stream bets and totally welched out of one of them. But he did pay his debt for the other.
What a wang.
Of course, I'm happy to tell and share this story, but let's get the intros done first. It's game 1 here in the Olimoleague. And spawning here in the top left, we got the red Protoss MyuNgSiK.
And in the bottom right has the blue Zerg. It's Nerchio.
Alright, so let's talk about something else really quick before we get too far into today, guys. Last week, I had some troubles with the Korean server and streaming. This is nothing new, apparently, because it's been happening on and off for like the last year and a half. Fingers are crossed nothing goes wrong today. If something does hiccup, we'll try a quick solution, which I have prepared a backup for. But if that doesn't work, then we'll hand it over to Zombie Grub to stream again like last time. But again, fingers crossed nothing goes wrong. Secondly, I've changed BitBoss settings to take subs again. We're just going to play around and experiment with it. I really don't know how well that will work, but we'll find out. Maybe it gets a lot of new BitBosses and a lot of people can try out the new powers.
Yeah, okay. See how that works. What is there? There's just so much stuff to talk about. I'm a little overwhelmed. So I already cast a lot a couple hours ago. Moved the time, so I actually am casting like within 5 hours of different casts. So there's surprisingly not a lot of ZvP, but of the ZvP from the Protosses and their Korean Protosses, the Korean League, it was all based around triple Stargate. So it's weird that we're seeing MyuNgSiK right off the bat because, I mean, on one hand, I kind of hope that he does go for multiple Stargate, but on the other, I don't. Just because MyuNgSiK actually really hasn't been that impressive with a Stargate, despite being like a super Stargate heavy player in the past.
The other problem too is like I feel like his Stargates all rely on proxies, which haven't been proven to be that effective. This game, he might sit down a proxy, but it doesn't look like it'll be for a Stargate. Also, speaking of multiple Stargate builds, I'm not sure what the ones look like in the tournament you were casting, but at least from everything I've been watching, man, it's... I don't know who. I want to blame Haas, obviously, but somebody is making mass oracles seem a lot more viable than they should be.
Classic.
Classic?
Yeah, that's literally who it is. Classic is just doing this thing. He started doing it in the SSL, and he's done it ever since like the last couple of weeks, how long SSL has been going. And he's just been going triple Stargate, mass Oracle into like charge and a ground army. But after like getting to like 20 oracles. So people always point to Haas, I guess, for the mass Oracle thing, but his is honestly a little bit different, like a little bit cheesier, a little bit like funnier, and not as well executed. Haas's mechanics just not quite up to par with some of these other guys, but Classic is trying to make it like a real meta changer, I suppose. And I'm not sure if it's gonna work, but that's apparently who we're gonna blame.
I'm just surprised that Stargates are at all coming back into fashion in that regard. I mean, we all know the power of the late game, obviously, but after watching people win games with charge lots only, I'm kind of convinced that like that's the way to be going with things.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I didn't see the ZvP as a matchup that needed changing for the Protoss. Like, well, they're just having a tough time overall. Yeah, they said they're having a tough time, but you know, a lot of people blamed the map pool last season as being like really open, like Ascension Ire, for being like a little bit more Zerg favored. But I never heard anyone with like super big complaints. So I'm not sure what sparked this difference, this desire to change how they're playing the matchup consistently. But apparently, some of the Korean Protosses are really trying hard to do that.
Well, of course, one thing we kind of neglected to bring up in the matchup was the fact that, well, it's Nerchio. He's playing cross server. He's playing on the away team. He's one of the best foreign Zergs, of course, but the thing is, he's never really particularly enjoyed this matchup. When the Hydra change got made, though, he did see a significant spike to his win rate in it, specifically naming things like his matches, I guess called grudge matches against Showtime and the Corsair Cups. So maybe, regardless of the style Protoss are now going for in Korea, it's just a better matchup for him overall. I don't know. You take us back like 3 months ago, I'd already say like Nerchio's in trouble just coming here.
Well, look at that. I was gonna say Nerchio. I would just give this to Nerchio because MyuNgSiK hasn't looked too powerful in the online leagues. But as you were saying, like it was based off of proxy, like very aggressive openers. They just like looked they looked out of MyuNgSiK's element. I wouldn't say he's a cheesy or a super conservative guy, but he does like his Stargate play, whichever one he does. And his aggression just doesn't really look that great. But it's not aggressive, it's macro, third base on the way, so unfortunately not a lot of units to deal with this. But an Oracle will be enough. The Phoenix Avoid Rate can be made to deal with the Overlord. But I'm a lot more interested, this is already made, I'm a lot more interested in this. I think there's a second Stargate already, so there should be a third, eventually.
See, it's funny too mentioning MyuNgSiK and his Stargate play, because of course, for those who are unfamiliar with this player, because in fairness he did drop out for a while, this is a guy who got famous with Mass Phoenix. Like, he was the guy who would go Phoenix when no one else would. He would make them work. Then, of course, Phoenix Adept came in the matchup, which was funny because that's about when he left the game for Overwatch. Poor MyuNgSiK.
Oh, God.
He missed his window of opportunity.
Oh, Overwatch. Oh, God. Team Liquid just recently released their Overwatch team.
Anyone we know?
No, I don't think so. I mean, they just dropped Overwatch entirely. No, I felt actually like of the one guy that we really liked, and now I'm blanking on his name right now. Too Easy.
Yeah, there's Too Easy, Surefour, a couple of the other guys we cast. Yeah.
Yeah. Like Too Easy is a kind of a funny guy because he's actually known for just like once he joins a team, people just joke they're going to disband like a month later because he's super unlucky. Like, it's not his fault, just super unlucky. So he's still a good player, but anyway.
In fairness, an Artosis curse lasted this many years. A Too Easy one might as well.
Yeah, right. That's a whole nother game entirely.
Well,
literally.
We have massive amounts of oracles being made.
Yeah, there was a 3rd Stargate put down, but I mean, I guess there's like various ways that they get to 3 Stargates, and then there's various timings at which they get away from the Stargates, like when they put the Twilight Council on the Forge down. It feels like MyuNgSiK was a little bit late to the 3rd Stargate and a little bit early to the Twilight Council on the Forge.
He also messed up control there pretty bad. Missing the kill on that queen was huge.
So a great way to initially stop this is, in fact, with queens that have transfuses. So as long as you're not losing them over and over again or spreading too much creep, you know, something like that, then they're an okay way to start things off. That's not, though. Cancel. But you do need to buy time to get to like a nice amount of Hydras. And the idea is that you get to Hydras thinking you only have to counter the Oracles, but surprise, Mass Oracle and Charge combined absolutely murder your Hydras. So you might make a mistake compositionally. I'm not sure Nerchio is.
I
really don't know.
That's already finished up. A little bit late to speed. Like not even researching it makes me a little bit concerned, but not overly concerned.
I think his player's really late.
Yeah, he's just intentionally going a lot of queens by the looks of it.
Yeah. I mean, that's fine, as I said. Like I said, the solid first defense, I still would have thought the layer would be, like, well, usually it's like kind of okay with the +2 and the Hydra was
I was gonna say, this gets kind of the Void Rate treatment a little bit, where like transfuses on mass might outdo it, but he doesn't have it here. The queens get absolutely destroyed. Spore crawlers are not done. Ugh.
They had no support. The spore crawlers weren't even there. I mean, the fact that they weren't done is a big problem, but they should have been there initially. That was the 4th base, so I guess that could be excused a little bit.
But a link counterattack might be effective. Get a couple of Banelings in there, take out the Zealots, and they run rampant over the base. I mean, the thing is, MyuNgSiK's air army is really good, but it's also used most of its energy on the other side of the map.
It's true. I was saying I don't know because I really am not sure how the Americans and the Europeans deal with this newfangled style, since a lot of the Koreans are having trouble with it and they're the ones that experienced it first. It's just been awkward from a lot of different parties, so it's not necessarily Nerchio not knowing how to do it, just, you know, it's one game, but it is something I'm always looking towards, because people have these different responses, fast Nidus worms, kill them before they even get there, that type of stuff.
We haven't been casting enough Protoss to see the new Archon skins for the war chest, by the way. Looks super dank. Yep. Super dark.
I like the soccer, too.
People ask if it's live. Quick note, if it is, because I know the vodcast title got messed up with the broadcast, guys. If you're watching this on August 8th at 4:18, 4:20 Pacific, then it's live. We'll do shoutouts and stuff between games. Big love to all those tuning in, though. As the Archon Zealot attack commences, you know, you kind of almost forget that there's this massive amount of Oracles just gathering energy to the south. Nerchio still without really any Banelings to work with.
No, I never made the Banelings. You know, because his lair was a little bit later, he never really got that +2. It really only just started. And he slapped down every single tech possible at the same time. Infestors, Hydras, Spires, upgrades. And he's not quite made an army out of all of that yet. So he's got to, again, defend with his Queens of Transfuse and buy time for more Hydras and fungal energy. But I feel it might be already too late. Those Oracles earlier on took an okay fight against the Queens.
Yeah, I actually really like the idea of the fungals coming down to deal with the Oracles, right? Because the Oracles actually get really screwed by their range. That's where the Hydras and Queens would definitely dominate the anti-air. But with Charge Lots and Archons being such a problem, it's no longer about just those Oracles, which are still a major threat.
Exactly. Like, fungals aren't bad to have, basically ever, but they really were meant to do something a little bit earlier to really stop that snowball effect of the Oracles, and then, you know, he would have a decent army to defend the 4th base, and his economy would still be intact. I mean, he was working on 72 drones and 4 bases, but just very inconsistently, and then obviously the 4th base died. And MyuNgSiK has just gotten to the good Protoss ground army The 3 Stargates is always a bit of a laugh because it looks so absurd, but then you get to the usual Protoss army and you're like, oh shoot.
I like the mutas actually quite a bit. All things considered, the Archons are really the only thing that will threaten them. And these, of course, can take on the Oracles without contest. Beyond this, with Immortals being made, things like anti-air, limited and more limited as time goes on.
You would really have to have a super snowball effect, though, for me to feel confident about these mutants.
I don't...
11...
I actually really like the 11. I think the 8 to 11 count is good for harass. You know, we've seen this classically in the matchup, but I think, again, just having something to threaten the Oracles, right? So they can't so freely come in and pick up Queens like we're about to see them try and do.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, they would have been able to eventually chase those Oracle down if they weren't out of position. But it is something that just, again, feels a little bit too late to really be worth it. It's not about the Oracles anymore. It hasn't been for the last minute and a half, 2 minutes. It's been about the ground army, which the mutas couldn't even help that much against with the Warp Prism and all the Archons. But that Fungal is pretty good.
Yeah, the choke on the ramp. While this goes on, he picks up about 11 probes on the other side of the field. Mule is going to town as the light defense for these cannons. The Archons are all over here.
Yeah, the Phoenixes were made as soon as he saw the mutas, but obviously they have to buy time. So 3 of them, I think, are out. It's going up to 6.
Oh,
damage has already been done. Like, 11 mutas ended up killing
he just
more
stole
than enough to be
probes.
worth it. 30 probes are going to go down here. And the Phoenixes, I mean, they're going to be able to clean this up, no problem. But MyuNgSiK is supposed to get a killing blow on the ground will that happen. And he was stalled out because of Fungal and a ramp.
Yeah, that Fungal was just like the physical body block more than the damage or anything like that. Made it so sick. He's going to catch the Warp Prism here too. Oracles are a bit of a priority. They, of course, can just run away. But not that Warp Prism.
MyuNgSiK kind of fumbling here. He was maxed out. He had a good economy. And he had a lot of control over the game. And those mutas combo with the attack really threw him off.
I gotta say, I really like Nerchio's choice. Like, he's embracing the classic idea of Zerg, just counterattacks, right? Like, Ling run buys, Muta run buys, you name it. The thing is, it draws his army home, or it kills them because they're across the map. And I really, like, I'm impressed MyuNgSiK already got his probe count back up. He fell down really low after losing so many. But, oh, these storms.
Well, he still let a lot of those Zealots run into Banelings, and actually there's a concave going on here, so while the Storm's usually very good, it's not going to be as dominant of fights, but Nerchio's still losing his Hydras. Yeah,
he also just threw a lot of Banelings into an Archon. No links to really support said Hydras. I mean, MyuNgSiK took some really serious blows there, but Nerchio's the one who walks away with half the army supply.
Yeah. I mean, he's still only working off of 4 bases, with that 4th being denied for so long, and I guess once again losing it to the mining time. So he didn't have this supreme bank from a very normal macro game of 13 minutes, and that is hurting him more than MyuNgSiK.
Misses both the Fungals. We're going to call that latency, but whatever it was, still hurts him. I do like the 2 spines, by the way. Those bought a ton of time, and like no drones died because of that. I love the idea of the investment in the spines here. Phoenix is looking for some kills in the main. Just a couple of Spore Crawlers, so it won't be total freebies, but it'll still be annoying losing Queens.
And their Parasite is always something interesting to see. The actual application of it, though, the execution, sometimes really doesn't look that worth it. We'll see. We'll see. Of course, that's going to be trying to make up for a pretty big army supply difference, especially when it comes to this matchup. 50 is already pretty bad, but considering that Zerg would love to be up 20 or 30 against the Storms, it's especially bad.
I really like the idea of the Neural, by the way.
I guess just take as many of the Archons down with you.
Yeah, just remove them from play so the Banelings can go past them and into anything else, I think is a really smart idea.
Well, we got Banelings. We don't have any. I kind of gave up on that idea, I guess.
Not like Rogue, where you max out on 50 every 3 seconds.
Yeah, just 8 more on the way. Well, Nerchio was scrambling to get any army, so he put a lot of in those Infestors.
All things considered, there's not really any Zealots with this, though, so the Banelings are not as necessary. Having a low Baneling count here is not going to be devastating. I mean, it'd be nice to have more, obviously, but you know, most of the Zealots we're seeing are being used on run-bys and not here with the main attack. It's all Archons on that front wall.
But the Zealots will be a pretty easy fodder warp in from that Warp Prism, and then the Banelings would probably already be used by that time because there's so few of them. Nerchio is definitely desperate. The Neural Parasites, he'd have to get... Well, they'd have to, like, not die, first of all. The Infestors just instantly feedback, or they get just torn apart by, you know, just the splash damage. That has to be avoided. And then they do have to get probably all the Neurals down. And that might give them enough of an army supply temporarily, Parasite, to win a fight. That's quite a stark army supply difference.
There's only 2 observers with this army? I'm a little bit worried about that, actually. Putting out a fungal damage alone might remove all detection. Just land like 2 fungals and going for the Neurals.
Nerchio is setting up another concave, looks like.
It's also smart moves me out of MyuNgSiK, not sending all of his army in at once like this. Whoa, that was loud! Okay. The assimilation successful sound?
Did he just... I think he neuraled a hallucinated Archon. That looks really weird. I mean, I'm not even sure anymore.
I think it just changed color, so it just changed color, so it looked weird.
No, it did, yeah, it just changed color. But also, it just disappeared.
Yo, these Archons are gonna be so good, though! They can hit everything! Unfortunately, though, with the warfare of the Zealots that you predicted in the back, these Hydras now have to run. No banelings, no way to deal with the observers. Taps out.
I just feel like that
even on the Korean server, no GG.
Yeah. In that situation, you're just like, yeah, Archons are so good. I'm so glad that I neuraled this. And the Pros player's like, yeah, Archons are really good. And it's like twice as many. I agree with you. Well, that was a game based around an opener of 3 Stargates. Just want to drive that point home.
It was cool watching Nerchio fend off and defend the 3 Stargates, but yeah, the end game there looked kind of like that classic PvZ of balanced winery, I guess you could call it.
Yeah. I think it feels a little less disappointing to lose like that though than it is to seeing 18 oracles overwhelm you.
Yeah.
I feel like it's one of those games just like, okay, I wish no one's do that. Even if it's like a totally normal thing, if it becomes the new meta, it just never looks very good.
Excuse me. Water went down the wrong pipe.
It's okay.
All right, well, while I recover from that, quick shout outs to everybody joining us on the stream, of course, but thank you to Twisted Death, brand new sub, not Prime, using his own hard cash. Thank you very much. Then we had Miracle set us up for 29 months, to which I say thank you. Says, your neutralness, it's beige alert. Oh, he's quite Futurama. Your neutralness, it's beige alert. If I don't survive, tell my wife I said hello. Kohar was also another new sub during that game. Thank you very much for that, sir. Devin Wolf hits us up with 500 muxies to say good morning. And then last but not least, Papa Mitch resubs for 39 months in a row. Thank you very much. That's a long time of dedicated support, man. But with that, round off, sound off, we're getting into game number 2 for the Olimoleague. Spawning here on the top left, it's going to be the Blue Zerg Nerchio, down 1 in the series.
In the bottom right, as the red Protoss, he is MyuNgSiK.
Damn you, middle mouse button!
Yeah. So how much of the GSO versus the world did you watch?
Not much.
But any at all?
Some towards the end, but not much.
Okay. So, of course, there's still the middle mouse cursor bug for everyone. That was consistent. But then I pay attention. I'm still paying attention, like noticing what's happening. I don't know if it was the server they were using being on like their own little like LAN situation there or whatever, or it was just that weekend and it was fixed immediately. But a lot of the death animations, I would say like 50% of the death animations were the hallucinated death animation or like nothing at all. Like either it was a
like where they just disappear, right? Yeah.
Yeah. We've seen that once or twice, and it's always a funny thing.
Queen's just randomly like gone. No death, no corpse, no nothing.
Like I've been paying attention both, well, like the last game obviously, but also earlier today in the other cast I did, and it was like literally 50% or more in GSL versus the world. Like every other unit it felt like was just being popped in the thin air, which I'm not seeing on my side anyways. Maybe that's like a graphics thing. I'm going to continue paying attention.
They were likely using a private server. WCS events have been doing that all year, for those who don't know. It's not like you're not seeing WCS Austin, for example, played on the open BattleNet. They're going to the PTR in their own private server to do so. So I wouldn't be surprised if things are a little bit different there. It's just frustrating because I know that they're aware of the middle mouse thing because I've talked to 3 different people from Blizzard and I've gotten responses saying like, hey, yes, we're aware and our team's working on it.
Yeah, I mean, they're aware of the middle mouse thing. I think they're very much so aware of the popping hallucinated, death animation because a lot of the Blizzard people were there at GSL versus the world. And they're still aware of the observer lag that I'm watching right now, watching your camera, and it just is, they'll get around to fixing it. It'll happen. It's all unimportant compared to actual StarCraft, I suppose.
Well, the middle mouse one and what used to be the camera swivel getting stuck, I think are the priority ones, because the middle mouse one affects players too. Like, oh, poor observers, right? I actually, okay, fine, we're just whining, I get it. But when it starts affecting players, like, that's when I think it's very important to deal with.
I've never noticed the middle mouse button affecting me when I play.
I haven't played, so I can't verify, but I've heard from other players that it does come up intermittently.
Oh, okay. 'Cause I mean, I guess it puts you back in the middle, and maybe you did mean to drag from the bottom right. So I guess that would be annoying, but I guess I don't really middle mouse a lot in game. But certainly the swivel thing, that was a huge problem. Anyway.
Well, speaking of problems, there are some very annoying adepts, so you paired up with more very annoying adepts.
Yeah, double gateway opener on the front side, so it can be quite a bit of pressure.
Man, the adepts kind of look a little like Alarak lights.
Yes. Well, they're like the Gennaro, and they're just basically having.
Oh, this is actually killing quite a few drones. Nerchio feeling the burn from the start of the game attack. Still hasn't fully cleaned it up. 8 workers dead, and quite a few lings went down for this too. In fact, grand total of 5 lings and 8 drones. It feels bad, man. But Nerchio's ready to go with the counterattack.
Right, so if he tries to counterattack, either hoping to get a third base, or I was going to say, yeah, use that Overlord and just continue pumping lings out, he will be countered again. 2 adepts are waiting at the Zelnaga, and they're looking towards the third base. They're going to be a little like surprised and not very pleased to see no drones at the third base, but they can go to the natural now.
Nerchio's on the clock. There's no layer. There's probably not going to be either, and that Dark Shrine just started up. If MyuNgSiK can defend that Dark Shrine and to the point of getting it out, DTs could clean this game up.
Yeah, well, certainly Nerchio won't have a lair for some time, but he is trying to drone behind this. There was no Mothership Core, so this could do a significant amount of damage.
The timing on this was so sick, the way he waited. Those lings went to the main, not with an attack command, but a move command to sync up with the ones that went in the natural. MyuNgSiK certainly losing out a lot from this, but I don't think he's anything close to dead.
No, that wasn't enough damage, because, again, he already killed 8 workers, plus I think 2 more, so yeah, a total of 10 drones. And Nerchio was cutting some to build so many lings, so that was not worth how much he put into that. Because, like, their workers even up right now, but yeah, there's the problem of the Dark Shrine with the Warp Prism. That's going to give a lot of control of the game to MyuNgSiK.
Yeah, Spore Crawler's starting up here, but it's one single Spore Crawler to cover 3 bases. There's that cool new Stalker skin, by the way, guys, if you're wondering what that production thing is, because it looks really weird. There we go.
Yeah, everything, it's always the weirdest in the production.
I'm telling you, Stalker's got the craziest midlife crisis going on. First they're putting their hair on these frosted tip spikes. Now they're getting these like horn dews. Like, I don't know, man.
It looks like they're wearing a tribal mask on top of their face. Yeah, like it's way too big for them.
Well, their face is down here though, is the thing. This is like, I don't even know what this is. Their face is a tiny little face with T-Rex arms.
That's not what I mean though. Like I imagine like, I said like a tribal face, like a huge one, like the thing in like Crash Bandicoot that literally would just like not be like comfortable to wear on your face. Like that's what I imagine is on their head right now, and they're like, I'm part of the kids, I know what's up. I look at it, I'm just like, yeah, quit trying to make fetch happen, right? Like, quit trying to make stalkers cool. It's actually like I feel like the stalkers aren't trying so much to catch up with the kids. They're the kids trying to start new trends. They're like, guys, check it out. Really? I look at it more like that Steve Buscemi clip that gets linked around everyone. Like, what's up, fellow kids? He's got like the skateboard over the back of his shoulder. Like, his fellow kids wouldn't be wearing this mask. Okay, they're just like, look, the next thing, guys. Throw it us, brethren. Just put things on your head. Okay, well, judging this aside, now too. Drop it. There's like a Reddit post that like they like mimicked a painting. You just put like a napkin on her head. Yes, I saw that one this morning. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, so like the front page of Reddit like right now if you guys want to go look to get reference points there, but okay, yeah, the stalkers napkins on their head trying to imitate other photos for sure. We do have a Warp Prism bringing some Archons up to Dark Archons look really cool when they're getting picked up. Yes. Oh, that actually surprised me. But anyways, those are gonna head in. These lings are patiently waiting to go in the main. I think Nerchio wants some sort of scouting or distraction tactic, but of course the real action's happening over here with the Roaches out to defend best they can. Yeah, not so bad. And Nerchio gets this attack in here, so he's gonna take now a nice lead in workers. He is going for a lot of Roaches, so he's not exploding an economy, going to higher tech. It is going to be a lot of that filler unit. the Roach, which MyuNgSiK should eventually get to a decent composition for. Well, I'm kind of curious. He went for charge, but he went also for like pretty fast. You didn't go for Dark Shrine with Templar Archive.
He missed the force field there very barely, and Nerchio does snipe off one of the sentries, so unless more are warped in, the reinforcements will not be cut out. But man, stacking on the ramp like that just provides a lot of splash damage opportunity for these Archons.
Yeah, I mean, this is off the back of 8 gateways. He didn't really cut probes, but he lost probes, and then they take his gas to his third base, so this could have been quite the snowball effect if, 4, and then 4 more, and then 4 more Zealots kept on warping in.
Yeah. I mean, if double warp prism too, like there's a lot of potential to make this really go erratic and chaotic for Nerchio, but MyuNgSiK unfortunately kind of losing out on that opportunity for now. Comes with a second attack in a moment. 47 is that nails it in chat, saying the Stalker evolved into a Kingler. And of course, if you guys don't know Pokemon, that joke's not going to be funny, but he's totally right.
Well, there is Immortal production just off the back of 1 Robo. The second Robo now comes down, because that's what I was imagining was really going to, of course, hard counter the Roaches, was double Immortal production off of 3 bases, fully mining. But MyuNgSiK kind of took a pit stop at the charge lot attack, which initially didn't do a lot of damage, but now with getting the Spire, that's a nice kickoff.
Kill 2, not even a cancel. That's going to be rough for Nerchio. With Roach Warren going down too, that's all his filler units. Won't be able to make more, and that's going to be a huge problem.
Oh man, that could have been a golden opportunity for the Queens to take care of those Archons. But the
golden
Archons were unloaded.
opportunity.
But they were unloaded and they picked up and they saved the Warp Prism. 16 probes though went down in the main base.
Yeah,
we were paying
Nerchio.
attention to that.
Nerchio had a really big run by those links. We kind of showed the drop off before it went down, but there's just so much more. Because the thing is, like, Nerchio was guaranteed to kill probes one way or the other. Question of how many, of course. Whereas on this side of the field, MyuNgSiK's close to possibly even ending the game with that initial attack. And now the double Warp Prism. I mean, the one in the main finally gets cleaned up, but this one just drove off all the mining from the new base. Queens are all gone too, so not much anti-air. And oh, these drones are so stacked up!
Okay. Got the shields off of that. If he had some way to bring the Immortals forward safely, that might have been a snowball effect. Of course, they're still being gathered up back at home. Take another Queen down. The Warp Prism, without that Spire, I mean, that Spire was not just 11 mutas to maybe kill probes like last game. It was also to deal with Warp Prism harassment, especially double Warp Prism harassment. And now I just have to hope that MyuNgSiK does mess up, which so far he's gotten close to messing up, but not quite yet. So double Warp Prism shenanigans, difficult to deal with. I guess he did just lose the second Warp Prism, but it was a long time.
Well, there's been a lot of really smart attacks out of Nerchio, but the Warp Prism, or not the Warp Prism, excuse me, the Overlord is finally driven off of the base. Took long enough to do so. This army of Roaches and Hydras are actually having no problem dealing with the Zealots now, too. Lings and Banlings are always great versus Zealots, but Roaches are that chunky, meaty wall. You can't just charge through it, so the Hydras do have some protection.
They do, but that's where the Immortals are going to come in and blast that protection away. There's 6 Immortals. He was steadily climbing. There was gaps in production, so maybe he could have had more, but 6 is still a pretty darn solid number. Because he went for Templar Archives, obviously he's had it for quite some time. He could have started Storm whenever he wanted to, and he started it soon enough that all he needs to do is buy like 30 more seconds, and he'll have Storm and I think High Templars with enough energy. Yeah,
but it's that timing for Nerchio. If he gets there, he's getting there. 4 seconds to go, and he takes out most of the army. Even if the Storms land now, what's going to clean up the units? The Immortals are gone, the Archons are taken out. Trying to make new ones, but this is going so well. GG.
So much dealing with so many attacks, Lings everywhere, Zealots everywhere, and it's all decided in like 15 seconds.
That was a really good game out of Nerchio too. Like, MyuNgSiK was playing very well, but I want to just compliment the fact that Nerchio, through game 1 and game 2, never seemed to really give up. He's always able to like have that counterattack of some variety going on. Like, let's not forget the Mutas did kill like 30 probes in game 1, despite the fact that he lost. The constant Ling run bys here were fantastic. It's a good cleanup, a good game out of Nerchio. We're gonna go to a quick commercial break before we hop to game 3, guys. But before we do, Olimoleague's coming in chat, talking about hacking the enemy. Did you see that stupid clip from the Corsair Cup this Sunday?
No.
Terminator came on to spectate the finals, and he was he basically just printed out a full paper image of Olivia's profile picture on Twitter and wore it like a mask. So I'm like, what the fuck?
It's kind of weird.
It caught me off guard. It was really funny. But apparently she's hacking people now too, dude. So watch out. It's not just Twitch accounts. We'll see you guys here in a couple minutes. We'll get back from ads. All right, folks, we're here. It's game 3. Things are tying up 1-1 in the very first series of the day. This is a good start. Not at all like the Corsair Cup, though, which was, you know what? You're probably, I'll say, lucky that you missed it. Because it was all TVZ. All TVZ and almost all mech. But, ooh.
Oh, well, that's not that bad.
Ooh. Okay, I see what you're ohing about. Ladies and gentlemen, looking to get down and dirty here for game number 3. In the top left, the foreign Zerg player, Nerchio.
In the bottom right has the red Protoss, MyuNgSiK. Scouting.
Yeah, Corsair Cup started late and ended really late because it was like Keen playing mech into another mech. It started with healer versus like sort of, so mech versus sort of, then Keen mech, and then Alive's mech, and I'm just like, cool, great, solo casting this all day. Yeah. Yeah.
That sounded a little bit brutal, yeah.
1 hour long best of 3s.
I was having my own mech party that night. I don't know. Just
oh yeah, how was the so was there like a GSL versus the world like after party? Did they do anything epic for that?
Nah, nothing official. The place that I was in, by the way, MyuNgSiK knows what's up. He's got to defend. The place I was in is actually very out of the way. So not only is it not like a very fun part of Seoul, it's literally on a university campus, which is like, this was a campus that was more akin to like an American or Canadian campus, like huge, right? Like a park in the middle of it with like, just a lot of things. So you got dropped off, then walked 20 minutes up a hill.
Hang on. He's going the wrong way. If Nerchio, sorry, just to interrupt. If Nerchio goes up and around, I think he's won this game. But if he goes straight in, there's gonna be a pylon block.
Okay. So there should be a pylon block, yeah. I mean, this is the downside of Abyssal Reef. Looks like it has too many paths to ward off, but the upside is that you can generally guess where they're gonna try it first and still have enough time to build everything.
This is just barely. I mean, it's a gamble too, right? Because the Nerchio could have gone around and then it could have been walled off there too. There's still problems presented with this, though. Zealots will be able to fend off the right side, but they can't stop the Lings from eventually breaking this pylon. I guess it is not a great endeavor, but eventually break it down.
There are so many ways of walling this off. Walling this off. One way to do so lets you micro against the Lings doing that with a Zealot, but maybe if they split the Lings up, then that's, you losing control of your natural. This is a pretty basic way that, okay, the pylon might have gone down, but he would have had enough units anyways. After all, speed is not followed up, which is something that MyuNgSiK saw. He looked in the main base and saw no gas.
Well, Nerchio may have gone for that really early pool, and I mean, like, 12 pools is about as early as it's going to get nowadays anyways. I do like that he didn't overcommit. I think that if he had, this game would be far and over, but yeah, he's got recovery.
I do wonder where this puts him. I mean, MyuNgSiK, of course, his Nexus was delayed and put down all those structures, but really no damage otherwise. I mean, maybe MyuNgSiK could have also tried counterattacking because he knew there wasn't speed. Oh, maybe that's exactly what he's doing. Guys, our army is moving across the map. There isn't any speed to meet this halfway, and this is going to cause Nerchio to, of course, speed or not, make a lot more Lings instead of drones. It's just that without speed, these units could get into some very difficult places to take care of.
Well, again, kind of playing 50-50 here. Nerchio could have easily choked off the ramp if it was coming down the front, but MyuNgSiK going around the side. Those queens are now going to have to really work for this. I mean, for those who don't know, early game when there's not much support out there, like a Zealot can 1v1 a queen. Like, you can actually do a lot with this small attack that MyuNgSiK set up, and the fact that this is coming with a pylon.
Oh. Okay. This feels like a Protoss player was sick of this not doing enough damage. Like, man, they don't have speed. They tried to all-in me first. Why isn't this working? What if they just put a pylon down for slow warp-ins? That would work, right? Or I feel like even if you have 3 gateways, which he doesn't, he has 2 gateways now. Like, I'm not sure this is really going to be worth the pylon addition. It's only 100 minerals, though, so...
Well, I like the idea of this actually overcharging and denying the third.
That's probably the biggest part about it is that overcharging for the third base, and Nerchio acknowledges how difficult it'll be to clean up and just takes the other third.
I think it's really smart that he did this though, because MyuNgSiK, it's such a small investment of a non-move. Like, let's say there was enough lings made for this, they fully surround and kill, he just recalls and gets out of there. Other hand, it's a light approach and he overcharges and wins the small scuffle. That 100 pylon investment would have been a really good exchange for MyuNgSiK.
Well, on other maps, it might have been even more worrisome for Nerchio to not take that base. Abyssal Reef, it does usually come down to the ZvP, this being the Zerg's third, but the other options aren't the worst in the world. So I think he's okay with how this went down. Not sure how he feels about the opener, but as far as using this third base.
I'll say too, this is more evident through foreigners because we cast a lot more European Zergs, right? But I've been seeing a lot of Zerg players start expanding this map horizontally too, like just taking this space for example as well, rather than this one.
Yeah. Nerchio is going for a Spire fairly quickly. This might be a big surprise. MyuNgSiK is going for 2 Stargate, probably in a third one eventually. But of course he's going to start off by building Oracles. 8, 16, 20, don't know, but definitely Oracles first. And he hasn't gotten any scouting yet. Which, I mean, he should. Oracles, that's another thing they're pretty good at, other than snowballing. And also getting in there and tagging Revelation, but he just might not be thinking about it.
Well, we already saw what Nerchio can do with Mutalisks once in the series. I would love if he could pull off 30 probe kills again. But if this is going to follow the path, even if it's a different order, a different endgame, as game number 1, this could still just be really bad. I mean, the idea of roaches is great. They're harder and longer to kill than hydras, but they still don't shoot up. Unless you get 47 Nesses stacking roaches.
Well, the mutas pop out as the oracles try to move in, so that was pretty well timed there. It's going to be able to chase them down. MyuNgSiK is going to have a defense, but it, is that question of how much damage is done before he got it. Pylons aren't quite covering the mineral lines, but there's no stalkers. He's not going to chance it.
Well, beauty of mutas, they are fast, so they're just going to run around everything here, even despite the overchargers and despite the Phoenix.
Yeah. And of course, there's this huge potential that MyuNgSiK way over dedicates to Phoenixes, which are only going to be so helpful against a roach push.
Right, and I was wondering why Nerchio got a bit complacent. It's because timing hit for the roaches up here northwards. That's pretty nice to see. He does take out both of those Phoenix, though. MyuNgSiK lost that control and might have lost total control through it because there's not that many left to deal with the mutas. And while they continue to chase, the roaches still pounce on top of the stalkers. They're killing probes. I mean, the oracles are doing what they can, but roaches can take a hit or two.
That they can. MyuNgSiK is also not building anything else. He has a limited gas income, I suppose. It looks like he will clean things up without catastrophic damage to his mineral lines.
Well,
maybe it's a little too soon.
Yeah, the split was really good there, and he's got, of course, more roaches over on this side. So
yeah, this
is so bad. Even if not through workers' loss, MyuNgSiK's losing so much mining, not even touching this third while this goes on.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that very quickly from 10 probes to 20 plus, and that third base not touching.
No GG. Got a bit of a taste of the Nerchio there, but Nerchio will take the series 2-1 and advance on to fight against what is possibly, eventually, going to be classic, but looks like that side of the bracket's a little bit held up right now.
I guess so.
So I just got a whisper from Cranky about possibly Neve and Leenock already lined up.
Oh yeah, apparently they thought that we had already started that, so I think that's waiting for us.
Oh, I joined Kingsteam and Ryung's there. I don't see Neeb or Leenock though.
It's right beneath Scarlet Lucira.
No, sorry, I mean players in the channel.
Oh, they're here. They're playing.
Right, but I don't think we're gonna be casting, right? I don't see them.
Yeah, I think they're playing right now. So when you said you got in the lobby and Rung was there, I was like, oh, I guess we're not casting Neeb. Leenock.
Yeah, so I don't know what's coming up next, guys. Scarlet's playing against Lucira currently. Winner plays Neeb or Leenock. Dude, Scarlet versus Neeb would be super sick. Ryung plays against Hurricane or Impact. Solar plays what is eventually likely going to be Hero. We've got a lot of games lined up, but we got to figure out what we're going to get into, so we're going to take a small break while we look. Thank you guys for watching. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back soon. And by the way, if you haven't already, hit that follow button on the channel, guys. Please and thank you.